Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Zach Rogers, Product Manager for Inspire here at Hexagon. Thanks for joining us today for the Inspire 2026.1 release webinar. I'm really excited about this release. It brings a wide variety of improvements across almost every piece of Inspire, with a healthy focus on some underlying changes to let Inspire connect to the newest instruments, plus cloud enhancements with a focus on performance. My goal today is to walk you through the major updates, highlight what's new, and show how these enhancements can make your daily work faster, smoother, and more reliable. With that, let's dive right in. 2026.1 is a major platform release for us. We've made a significant number of changes under the hood. Some of those were to update our instrument connection architecture, which has allowed us to bring the ATS 800 to Inspire. Another area that had a lot of effort behind it was refreshing our underlying point cloud architecture, with the focus being on performance and traceability. While those two consumed most of our dev team's time for this release, there's a long list of additional improvements. Just to highlight a few, we have some inspection process improvements, including a remeasure out-of-tolerance action. Of course, the usual assortment of scripting and CAD improvements are in there, plus a bit of a step ahead. We moved to .NET 10, mostly for better security, but also allowing us to leverage new features there for speed and efficiency gains. Let's jump into some details. To start with, here's the headline feature of this release, our initial integration of the Leica ATS 800. This brings targetless scanning directly into Inspire using the ATS 800, with support for region scans, line scans, and feature scans. Everything runs through a single unified scan architecture that covers all ATS 800 operations, including circle and slot selection inside the measured perimeters action. And to keep things simple, a single OVC scan profile was added, giving you a nicely focused and approachable workflow. So here's the ATS 800 connected and running inside Inspire. I'll jump into some more demos here in a moment, but I wanted to give you a quick impression of how easy the ATS 800 works in Inspire. The direct scanning capability of the ATS 800 lets us do a really easy align, start scan, and done type workflow. Let's take a look at some of those other workflows here. First, I want to show some holes. I already have my circle features defined in Inspire, and they're also already set up to use Cloud 4 as their input. So all I need to do here is to add a measure perimeters action. I'll need to tell the measure perimeters action which instrument I want to use to measure. Then I can select the nominal circles as the perimeters to scan. I then set my options. Here I'll use a cross-line scan with relatively tight point-to-point spacing. And then I can run my actions. In my actions, I first set the active measurement target to be Cloud 4, which is already the input for those circles. So all the circles will be extracted from the measured cloud as soon as scanning is complete. And after just a moment, scanning is complete and all my features are measured. Here, I'm going to scan a surface face, but I want to avoid scanning inside the hole. This is a great way to speed up scanning large areas when there are portions inside the large area that are not needed to be scanned, or if you just simply want an easy way to separate scan data from different sections on a part. I'll define two perimeters here, both directly from the surface. The first perimeter will just be a normal perimeter. For the second one that is the hole, I'll only need to go into its properties and define it as subtractive. That way, when I create my measure perimeters action, the ATS 800 will be able to know that that perimeter is a subtractive region. Once I have my options set here, the instrument will run the scan and we'll be all done. I haven't explicitly set any measurement target, so starting the scan will create a new cloud for me, same as using any other instrument in Inspire would do. And here's a simple area scan using the OVC. For this, I just make sure my measurement profile is set to scanning. Open the OVC, define my scan area and options. Here, I'll leave it to the default 2mm spacing, and then press measure to scan. Again, in this one, I hadn't set any measurement target first, so a new cloud will be created. This would be a very common workflow when performing some ad hoc scans manually, or maybe when scanning before being aligned to the CAD model. On the alignment side, with so much of the measurement process with an ATS 800 being able to be automatic, Getting an easy and fast initial alignment is very helpful. For that, I really like using Quick Align. Here's a simple Quick Align process. Start by defining the Quick Align points on the surface of the part. Once that is complete, we now run through the process of measuring the surface points. The OVC makes this process super easy. I just point and then measure a single point. Optionally, I can use the position to and measure functionality in the OVC to make this even easier. Once my initial points are complete, I can optionally add additional surface points. I'll add 2 quick ones here just to show the process. And we're aligned. From here, I can rely on scan areas and perimeters defined directly from the CAD model to drive the remainder of my measurement process. That's a good taste of using the ATS 800 in Inspire. I'm real happy with how the dev team approached this one, and work hasn't stopped on this. Look for more in the 2026.2 release later this year. Now let's move on to one of the biggest areas of work in this release, the point cloud overhaul. This is a major under-the-covers kind of change that immediately you'll only notice some small quality of life type changes. For instance, you'll quickly notice the cleaner, more organized tree. However, if you ever get into a case where you have to switch between new and old versions of Inspire, you'll quickly start noticing how vast these changes are. So what you'll see right away is that we've removed the old cloud features and output clouds that you previously saw in the tree and replaced them with a single unified cloud object. This simplifies how you work with point clouds. Properties of a cloud, including all the display properties, are accessed from the top-line cloud feature. You no longer need to dig into the tree to find the output cloud to make adjustments. Similarly, you'll find that scan passes now contain and control the scanline filter settings. You can now easily change these settings after measuring if needed, as your raw instrument data is always preserved during a measurement session. And you can optionally save that with the file as well, meaning you have the ability to go back to the original raw scan data at any time, the ultimate in traceability. We've also added automatic offloading to speed up processing, and scan pass metadata is now exposed directly in the properties. Looking specifically at performance, this is where that new foundation really pays off. As I mentioned, editing is now fully non-destructive. Every edit is applied without altering the original scan data, so you can toggle, reorder, or remove edits at any time. Within a session, the original cloud is always recoverable, and you can optionally save that raw data with your file, ensuring that it is always available. On performance, the numbers speak for themselves. As you can see in these charts, files open faster, peak memory usage is lower, and file sizes are dramatically smaller, up to 50% faster and 50% smaller on large cloud files. Behind that is smarter memory management that uses memory when it's available and offloads when it's needed, keeping interactions smooth even with very large data sets. That particular change doesn't really get highlighted in these comparisons, but rather will be most visible when working with very large clouds or on systems with limited RAM. Inspire will now dynamically offload data to disk when it detects the system getting low on physical memory. This ensures that Inspire is as fast as possible when computer resources are available to it and remains performant even in cases where system resources are less than ideal. Moving along to changes aimed at improving the inspection process, we now have a remeasure out of tolerance action. This is all about making inspection faster and more repeatable. With manual probing, we recognize that mishits can happen. The new remeasure out of tolerance action allows you to build in an automatic remeasure into any inspection process that you want to hand off to the factory floor. Really the best of both worlds. You can have a fully planned inspection routine, plus allow for a reasonable opportunity to correct mistakes. Once the remeasure out of tolerance action is initiated, Inspire automatically loops through any features before it in the actions list that failed, one or more of their criteria. It will clear the measurements from each feature and guides the operator through remeasuring them. We've also given you control over how many retry passes are allowed, giving you full control over your inspection process and a real time saver for consistent inspections. So let's take a look at that remeasure outer tolerance workflow in action. Here, I have a part with several circle features measured and projected to the measured data may plane. You can see the failing results on that data may plane highlighted though. Rather than hunting through the tree for that one failed feature, I'll start the remeasure outer tolerance action and let Inspire walk me through remeasuring only the features that failed. Once the retry pass completes, it rechecks each result, and we're left with a clean intolerance inspection. You can easily see how this would fit into a pre-planned inspection. In this particular example, I had a measurement error on my data may plane, which certainly would need to be cleaned up before the inspection should proceed. And with the remeasure outer tolerance action, we can do that easily. Beyond the big ticket items, we've made a number of quality of life improvements to inspection and workflow setup. Perimeter construction is easier now. You can select CAD edges using the Shift key modifier, and we've improved face and edge highlighting as you build perimeters. Creating perimeters for circles and slots is much simpler too. You simply select them directly inside of the Measure Perimeters action. One of my personal favorites, we've also improved the vector comparison display, so negative vectors can be shown transparent and on top for better visibility. Vectors are a great way to convey form errors and surface profile deviations, and this makes it easier to show a complete picture of the situation without having to fiddle with CAD transparency settings or object visibility or anything like that. We just simply put the stuff you need to see right on top for you. Now, I touched on this one up front, but it's worth coming back to. We've modernized Inspire's foundation by migrating to .NET 10. This isn't a feature that you'll necessarily really see on the screen, but you'll feel it, a more secure, faster, and more efficient platform. It's the kind of behind-the-scenes investment that keeps Inspire healthy and sets us up well for a strong future. It's also the kind of change that we really hope none of you are ever concerned with. But by staying up to date, we're making sure your IT and security teams are happy so that you can continue working without having to deal with unwanted headaches. And there's lots more in this release. As always, we've also updated CAD support to align with the most recent updates there. For Autodesk users, we have new versions of AutoCAD plus Revit. SOLIDWORKS 2026 is now available along with Siemens NX 2512 and Parasolid 38. Lastly, Spatial recently updated ASICs, and so have we. This ensures that no matter what you, your customers, or partners are using for CAD, Inspire can read it reliably with no translation needed. And I should mention, this is included in every version of Inspire, so you all have access to this, well, today. Now, more and more of you are utilizing Inspire's Python-based scripting, and we continue to round out functionality for you there. The main area of focus this time around was giving you control over criteria and the ability to create GD&T annotations via scripting. It's very neat seeing these already being put to use by some of you. Some of you started using our release candidates as soon as they were available, and we got some very early questions on this, and that's great to see people jumping right in and putting the new features to use. We had some questions about, or some requests to add more options for controlling the measurement process directly from the buttons on the arm. So we added that too. And then lastly, there's some tracker simulator improvements. Really just a small thing, but we know some of you are using it to speed up your planning work, and so I've made some enhancements to make that easier to do as well. Oh, there's always one more thing, right? The full user's manual is now available in the Documentation Center on Nexus. Along with the manual, there's Instrument Quick Starts, a Getting Started guide, and quite a bit more. We'll be continuously adding to this as we go forward, too. Our fantastic support team is always here to lend a hand for any questions you might have. Don't hesitate to contact them anytime you want to, but sometimes just a quick access to some info is what's needed, and you now have it here. So that's Inspire 2026.1. Everything we've covered today is available right now. You can download Inspire 2026.1 through Hexagon's Universal Updater or directly from the Inspire product page on hexagon.com. That user manual plus a what's new and more, all available via Nexus. If you found that your SMA is out of date or need to speak to a salesman about more licenses or updates, just quickly scan that QR code. It'll take you to the right place instantly. Of course, your favorite Hexagon sales rep can also help you out with that. And before we wrap up, I want to thank the entire Inspire development team. A lot went into this release, and they are already well underway on our 2026.2 release. They do an outstanding job and deserve a healthy round of applause here. A special thanks this month to all of you that went out of your way to give us feedback on our beta releases and early release candidates. That kind of involvement helps us deliver a better product than we can ever do alone, and it's greatly appreciated. Thank you very much. So with that, that's Inspire 2026.1. Thank you very much for joining us today, and I'll see you very shortly for 26.2.